and then we're gonna end it over there, and it's gonna be a party.
Yep.
I hope it goes good.
Yeah, and then it's the, like, 75 million views. Yeah, it's amazing. We have to take a break. We'll be back.
Bruno Mars, the singer-songwriter behind hits like Uptown Funk and Just the Way You Are, has left fans worried after he suddenly took a break from performing. Rumors have been swirling about the reason behind his absence. At the age of 38, Bruno Mars has officially spoken out about his condition. Are fans' concerns justified? What happened? Let's find out the truth behind his mysterious disappearance. Before that, let's take a look back at his childhood and the journey that led him to the pinnacle of fame. Peter Gene Hernandez, born October 8, 1985, in Honolulu, Hawaii, chose the stage name Bruno Mars when he began his musical career. He grew up in a culturally diverse family in the vibrant Waikiki area. His mother, Bernadette San Pedro Bayot, is of Filipino descent with Spanish ancestry, while his father, Peter Hernandez, is a Puerto Rican immigrant of Jewish descent from Brooklyn. His father was a drummer and his mother a hula dancer who met through stage performances. His father called him Bruno from the age of 2 because he resembled the famous wrestler Bruno Sammartino. Bruno grew up in a musically rich family, with all 6 of his siblings being artistically talented. Genres such as R&B, hip-hop, reggae, and rock and roll had a profound influence on him as an adult. He was also greatly influenced by Little Richard's explosive performance style and his mother's singing voice. Bruno showed a passion for music from an early age. Encouraged by his uncle, he began imitating Elvis Presley at the age of 3 and soon became a huge fan of Michael Jackson and Elvis. By the age of 4, he was performing 5 days a week with his family band, the Love Notes. One of his most memorable moments was when he performed Can't Help Falling in Love and accidentally wet his pants, an incident that brought him fame in his native Hawaii. Bruno Mars's passion and dedication to music from his childhood laid a solid foundation for his illustrious career. Despite many challenges in life, he never stopped performing. In 1990, he appeared in the film Honeymoon in Vegas and was dubbed Little Elvis by Hawaii Midweek when he was only 5 years old. Bruno has also performed at the Aloha Bowl and appeared on the Arsenio Hall show. When he was 6 years old, he was interviewed by Pauly Shore on MTV. The likes of Frankie Lyman and Little Anthony were big inspirations in his family's performances. Bruno also mastered a variety of instruments, including drums, guitar, piano, and percussion, showing his versatile and promising talents from an early age. But a turning point occurred when Bruno's parents split up when he was 12 years old. They had to relocate to less affluent parts of Hawaii since his father's firm went bankrupt. The family frequently took refuge in vehicles, atop buildings, or at Paradise Park, a deserted aviary. Bruno persisted unwaveringly in his quest for musical expression and composition despite all the obstacles. His formative years as a musician informed his charisma and songwriting, especially his studies on guitar with rock legends Jimi Hendrix and Elvis Presley. While recalling his youth, Bruno frequently brings to his family's musical background and Hawaiian ancestry. As a student at Honolulu's Theodore Roosevelt High School, Bruno was a member of the band The Schoolboys, who performed covers of songs by artists like The Temptations and the Isley Brothers. Performing a Michael Jackson impression and opening for Big Magic shows were 2 of his earliest musical earnings, which he made while still a student, totaling $75. Steve Lynn, an A&R supervisor at Aftermath Entertainment, which is controlled by Dr. Dre, was alerted to Bruno's recordings by his sister. This was Bruno's big break. In 2003, Bruno's invitation to Los Angeles from Lynn, who was amazed by his skill, ushered in the start of his great music career. Where did Bruno Mars' career in music proceed from there? Was he having a hard time during that time? Let's keep up with it. Upon graduating from high school at the age of 17, Bruno set out to embark on a musical career. It was shocking to witness such severe poverty and filth in his first Los Angeles house on Mansfield Avenue. Bruno is an abbreviation of his childhood moniker. He later added Mars to give it a little flair. When people assume Bruno is Latino, he uses the title Out of This World to dispel that myth. The business initially tried to get him to sing in Spanish, but he eventually decided to sing in English instead. On top of that, he was determined to keep his amazing talents hidden from others around him. going live with production while also fixing any problems that may arise. Almost immediately after Bruno Mars moved to Los Angeles in 2004, he was offered a recording deal by Motown Records. He was let down since the transaction denied him the opportunity to gain the break he craved. His attempts to establish a connection between Will and the IAM administration caused more issues. Mars triumphed over these early setbacks to reach a career turning point while at Motown. He met the American composer and producer Philip Lawrence, who would become an important figure in his career during this occasion. Mars chose to stay in Los Angeles rather than go back to Hawaii, even though Motown terminated his contract with them less than a year after he signed it. A song publishing contract was inked in 2005 between him, West Side independent producers Steve Lindsay and Cameron Strang. The original intention was to print songbooks. Mars met two songwriters, Brody Brown and Jeff Basker, via Mike Lynn. While working with Lindsay, Mars showed them the ropes. Lindsay emphasized the significance of innate talent as one of numerous factors in the evolution of modern music. If you want to succeed, you need to know what makes a song popular. A substantial improvement didn't materialize for Mars and his colleagues for 5 years, but that time spent studying was crucial. As Sex Panther, Mars, Basker, and Mars's sibling Eric Hernandez performed together, the Hooligans, Mars's band, would later recruit Eric to play drums. Before meeting Bruno Mars, Philip Lawrence was hesitant to do so because of his unstable financial status. Keith Harris, drummer for the Black Eyed Peas, assured Lawrence that he would pay back any expenses he incurred while on tour, which allowed him to settle his debts. Playfully, Lawrence requested that the bus fare not exceed $5. The support of their fans helped Lawrence and Mars overcome the first challenges of working together on music and triumph over the numerous rejections they faced in the record industry. Lawrence introduced him to Aaron Bay Shuck in 2006. Shuck would go on to lead Atlantic Records' A&R department for Mars. Seeing Mars strumming a guitar with all eyes on him made Bay Shuck feel obligated to sign him. Because Atlantic Records believed Mars needed further time to develop as a performer, they waited nearly 3 years to formally contract him. When Brandon Creed phoned Mars and Lawrence in 2008, they were on the verge of giving up. Their fortunes began to improve in about the same period. Creed fell completely over heels for Mars's original song Lost when searching for tunes to play at the Menudo reunion. Despite their initial reluctance, Mars and Lawrence decided to sell it for $20,000. This agreement provided them with the necessary financial boost, allowing them to continue progressing. As an intriguing side note, Creed was Mars's manager for the subsequent 9 years. Mars worked with several artists before he became famous on his own, including Alexandra Burke, Adam Levine, Brandy, Sean Kingston, and many more. The breakthrough track Right Round, which Mars and Flo Rida co-wrote in 2009, was a turning point in Mars's career. This was one of his early victories. In 2010, he appeared on the Sugar Babes' 2010 single Get Sexy as a background vocalist and co-songwriter. He sang lead on their 7th album, Sweet 7. On top of that, Mars is the lead singer for the Far East Movement's 3D version of Animal. Among his other 2009 contributions were the smash hit Love by Jason Ma and the charity single One at a Time by Travis McCoy in support of MTV's Staying Alive Foundation. The meteoric rise to solo prominence that Bruno Mars achieved was quite remarkable. He rose to fame and prominence as an artist thanks to a series of remarkable collaborations. We will start with his meteoric climb to stardom and wealth, and then go on to his solo career debut. One of Bruno Mars's strengths is his ability to collaborate with musicians. His exceptional composition and vocal skills are on display in songs like Billionaire by Travis McCoy and Nothing on You by B.O.B. He did fantastic work on both of these songs. Although both songs were enormous hits, Nothing on You topped the charts in the United States and the United Kingdom. The fact that everything turned out well was more than a mere coincidence. Mars's talent for penning infectious, unforgettable tunes was on full show. When discussing these early triumphs with Mars, a startling truth typically comes to light. In his opinion, if he had sung every note of Nothing on You, the song would have sounded more like vintage 90s R&B. Unlike what we had originally intended, Most significantly, he was able to demonstrate his abilities as a featured artist through the partnership, bringing his style to the mix without trying to steal the show. It Is Better If You Don't Understand, Maroon 5's debut EP, was re-released on May 11, 2010, after its initial release. This EP marked a watershed moment in his career since it firmly established him as a solo artist. Regardless of its low position on the US Billboard 200 chart, it was a huge step in establishing its place in the music industry. You also received a music video for the track The Other Side, featuring B.O.B. and CeeLo Green, which was on the EP. By releasing this song, Mars solidified his reputation as a versatile artist, capable of teaming up with heavy hitters in the business. As his star began to rise, Mars discovered the hard way that being a renowned artist wasn't without its challenges. As Bruno Mars's popularity grew in the music industry, his earnings shot through the roof. With earnings of nearly $18,139,781 in 2013, Mars ranked as the 10th highest-paid musician, according to Billboard's calculations. Additionally, Mars's earnings have been on the rise for quite some time. Prepare to be astounded by the figures. Mars made $60 million between June 2013 and June 2014, putting him in the 12th spot on the list of celebrities' 100 incomes. Forbes magazine began maintaining reliable financial records of its profits in 2014. The fact that Mars is presently the 6th highest-paid celebrity in the world, according to Forbes, is proof positive of his ongoing financial success. Forecasts indicate that Mars made around $39 million in the fiscal year ending in June 2017. Jupiter was named by Forbes as the highest-paid American musician of 2017, with a total of $100 million. In addition, his yearly earnings hit a new peak, as he was rated 10th on the Celebrity 100 list. In addition, he received the highest compensation check in history. Forbes magazine ranked him 54th on its 2019 Celebrity 100 list, based on his $51,500 in earnings from June 1, 2018 to June 1, 2019. Bruno Mars has faced obstacles and fought legal fights on his path to fame, just like many other superstars. On the other hand, he has also accomplished his goals and been financially successful. Have you heard of any of his court battles? The legal fights that have shaped his trajectory are examined in further detail here. Unexpected legal trouble befell Bruno Mars after his September 19, 2010, concert at Las Vegas's Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Mars was subsequently imprisoned when security personnel got suspicious of his habit of spending an abnormally long period in the lavatory. Mars expressed his immense guilt for what had happened and stated that he had committed a careless mistake while incarcerated. Upon further reflection, he acknowledged that he was caught off guard by the events of that period and the lessons he learnt from them. This insight has come to him after he has given it considerable consideration. Even though the accusations against Mars were quite severe, he was able to avoid spending a long time behind bars with the help of a plea agreement. He was bound to take part in educational programs and volunteer work as part of the deal. After Mars fulfilled all the terms of the plea agreement in 2012, the charges against him were formally dropped, and he moved on from that chapter. The dispute over copyright with the rich was only the beginning of Mars's encounters with several legal issues. On January 28, 2014, Demetrius Orlandis Proctor sued Bruno Mars and rapper Travie McCoy. Songwriter Travie McCoy's 2010 solo album featured the single Billionaire, which is at the center of the case. Bruno Mars wrote the song and Travie McCoy released it. He claims that they willfully removed the music from his possession, even though Proctor claimed ownership of the song in 2011, 1 year after the CD was initially released. Bruno Mars and Travie McCoy are both named in a lawsuit that Demetrius Orlandis Proctor filed for damages. He has lost money and face because many think the movie Billionaire stole his ideas. The artist known as Demetrius Orlandis Proctor is suing for money and wants the song Billionaire taken off from all streaming services' playlists. Bruno Mars and Travie McCoy's public comments in relation to the case, brought by Demetrius Orlandis Proctor, were not very assertive. They avoided talking about the details of the case, and there's no indication that they were worried about Proctor's chances of prevailing. During this time, both artists kept working and releasing new music. Furthermore, until the trial had already begun, no information that was available to the general public was made available. At the time when Proctor filed the case, it had not yet garnered any momentum, and he did not make any requests for damages or for the song Billionaire to be withdrawn from the playlist. There is still a lot of secrecy around any out-of-court settlement that the parties may have reached and agreed upon. Despite this legal hurdle, Bruno Mars' career has continued to flourish, despite the setback. His return to the music business came on December 7, 2012, with the release of Unorthodox Jukebox, which was his second studio album. He had been absent from the industry before. Mars showed a remarkable amount of bravery by providing fans with a preview of the entire album 1 week prior to the official release. With an outstanding total of 192,000 units sold in its first week of release, Unorthodox Jukebox made its debut on the Billboard 200 chart in the United States, where it debuted at number 2. Because of its meteoric rise in popularity, it swiftly exceeded all other options in several countries, including the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Canada, and Australia, among others. Mars solidified her status as one of the most significant pop musicians of the 2010s by selling more than 6 million copies of her album throughout the globe. Because it avoided the music industry and all of the controversy that comes along with it, it was a tremendous commercial success, with just a few minor complaints to be taken into consideration. Both Bruno Mars and Uptown Funk are currently facing allegations of copyright infringement, which have been brought back before the legal system. Immediate after the publication of 24K Magic in print, since the release of his hit single Uptown Funk on November 18, 2016, Bruno Mars' career has taken a turn for the worst, which has resulted in a new scandal. This song is presently once again among the most popular melodies in the world, even though it was in danger just 2 years ago. There was a significant increase in the number of allegations of copyright infringement following the first publishing of the Mars-featured, Mark Ronson-produced song, although it was quite successful. There is no other band that can compete with the Gap Band in terms of their ability to stir up controversy. Several people expressed their opinion that the band's Uptown Funk sounded too much like their hit, Oops Upside Your Head, which they had co-produced. It wasn't until much later that these allegations were brought attention to. As a consequence of this, they decided to divide the authorship credit as well as the revenues from the record for Uptown Funk. Although this resulted in significant financial benefits for the Gap Band, legal challenges continued to arise as a result of the arrangement. There were a great number of additional musicians who concurred with the Gap Band's assessment that Uptown Funk had violated their copyright. Victoria, a vocalist from Serbia, was under the impression that her music had been taken in an unlawful manner. Nonetheless, she decided against filing a lawsuit. Electro-funk band Collage has filed a lawsuit against Uptown Funk, alleging that the latter band stole their song Young Girls. Uptown Funk is appealing the lawsuit. The Sequence, another band, also said that the song was infringing on their Funk You Up, which describes their music. Due to the fact that La Strada Entertainment brought to light the fact that Zapp's song More Bounce to the Ounce is comparable to Uptown Funk, there was a legal dispute that arose in the year 2017. Even though some of the accusations were eventually withdrawn, the debate brought to light the persistent disagreements that prevail within the music industry over copyright and innovation. Certain assertions of this sort sparked conversations that went into more profound subjects, such as the factors that motivate musicians and how to differentiate between credit and plagiarism. Critics had a variety of perspectives on the matter. Many thought that Mars and Ronson's interpretation of funk was novel and innovative, while others thought that it was too cheap. People started discussing who should be given credit for ideas and how work done in the past may affect work done more recently as a result of this. Another problem that was brought to light by this incident was the question of cultural appropriation. Despite allegations that Bruno Mars copied the work of black vocalists without giving proper credit to them, supporters of the artist said that the musician was only paying respect to the origins of the funk genre. When they were discussing Grapevine, Sensei Aishato reprimanded Mars for not being innovative enough. Mars was reminded of this by Aishato. She stated that one of the factors that contributed to Mars's already exceptional popularity was the potential for white audiences to understand black culture via the perspective of an artist who is not of African descent. The Gap Band heirs have complained that BMG has delayed the payment of royalties following the publishing of Uptown Funk. This information was provided by the Gap Band. In January of 2021, a well-known song called Uptown Funk made a comeback in the news, but this time it was because of a legal dispute about the management of BMG's rights. Robert Wilson and Ronnie Wilson, both of whom were formerly members of the Gap Band, filed a lawsuit against BMG, alleging that the company failed to pay royalties on a song that they had written and that Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson had performed. At this point, we are working with this time frame. According to the terms of the copyright agreement that Ronnie and Robert Wilson signed in 2015, they were granted 3.4% of the song Uptown Funk. Through this arrangement, the Gap Band was rewarded for the successful song Oops Upside Your Head by Uptown Funk, which was released in 1979 and had widespread circulation. At the time when BMG bought the Gap Band in 2015, it was alleged that Minder Music, the band's publisher, had violated the contract by failing to pay royalties and by failing to reveal an exact breakdown of their share of the deal. Because the contract was breached, the heirs demanded a return of more than $75,000 in compensation. Not only that, but they also proposed that the annual interest rate for the year 2015 be set at 9%. During the course of the lawsuit, it was found out that the Wilsons were entitled to 100% of the revenues made by Uptown Funk after Minder Music had bought BMG. The heirs of Woodrow Wilson, on the other hand, made the decision in April 2021 to abandon their claim without facing any repercussions over their decision. Because their acts did not put an end to the legal action in a permanent manner, it is possible that it may be reopened at a later time. One of the arguments that were presented by BMG's defense was that the assertions were not supported by any evidence. The corporation made it very clear that neither monetary compensation nor a settlement was exchanged from either of the parties in order to dismiss the claim filed by the other party. In the course of the investigation into the matter, BMG has reiterated its commitment to treating artists in a lawful manner and to being truthful. Following the conclusion of this judicial proceeding, there will be a significant amount of confusion in the legal system. Prior to this event, the complexity of music royalties and rights tracking were concealed from view. However, this incident pushed these difficulties into the open. In addition, the more significant concerns around copyright and equitable compensation in the music industry have been brought back to the forefront as a direct result of this. Because of the potentially far-reaching effects that the case may have on the arts and entertainment business, the evolution of the case aroused a significant deal of worry among a huge number of individuals. Nevertheless, not long after the royalty deal was reached, an additional fascinating story concerning Bruno Mars surfaced. This may be the reason why he did not appear on stage. Also, what exactly is the tale? So let's proceed. There have been rumors circulating recently that Mars is struggling with a gambling addiction and massive debt, maybe approaching $50 million. In your view, are these assertions accurate? What kind of allegations might be leveled against someone as wealthy as Mars? At this very moment, we must ascertain the reality. As the new year of 2021 began, Bruno Mars found himself engulfed in a tempest of turmoil. According to rumors, the pop star's enormous gambling habit has left him up to $50 million in debt to MGM Resorts International. After his reckless gambling binge cost him a fortune, rumor has it that Mars fell bankrupt. Mars allegedly used a significant portion of his money from his extremely lucrative residency in Las Vegas to satisfy his debt while he was in a bit of a financial and personal bind, according to the charges. An already contentious issue reportedly got even worse when another anonymous source said that Mars's gambling habits played a significant role in his relocation to MGM. This rumor piqued the curiosity of the media, critics, and fans alike. The idea that someone so rich could be so defenseless shocked many. Mars's performances in Sin City alone bring in almost $90 million every year. Bruno Mars is, without a doubt, not your typical entertainer. Millions of CDs have been sold, he has performed before sold-out crowds worldwide, and he has won several awards. He is famous all across the globe. The fact that he has such a large debt obscures the issue, even if he appears to be an odd person on the outside. There was no delay on the part of MGM Resorts in responding to the repeated allegations in light of these revelations. They released a statement in which they denied the charges as unfounded and used some strong language. As far as MGM is concerned, Mars is $50 million in the red. That claim lacks evidence. The MGM casino has denied that Bruno Mars owes them anything, and the charges that News Nation and others made in their totally false attempt to clear his name on March 19th have been denied by the casino's representative. In addition to this, the group took the opportunity to underline how close they were friends with Mars. To provide more clarification, the official from the casino informed Variety that the division is pleased with the long-term partnership it has established with Bruno Mars. The statement that MGM owns Bruno Mars due to debt has been made by several media sites, although he emphasized that the relationship is a partnership instead. A significant number of foreign tourists have been drawn to the MGM resort and casino as a result of the singer's ability to attract a huge number of tourists from other countries. It is consistent with their desire to put an end to any additional discussion over this subject that they consistently express their contentment with the way in which they have worked together. The primary goal of their investigation is to discover what took place, while also ensuring that the artist is content. Additionally, even though MGM has refuted the charges, they are nevertheless brought up rather frequently. Because of the fact that it is so compelling, many people find it tough to completely ignore the news. From the time that Mars admitted his gambling tendencies during a carpool karaoke session with James Corden in 2016, he has been transparent about his gambling habits. During the amusing talk, Mars admitted that in the past he had relied on gambling as a means of satisfying his financial obligations. In his life, he noted that this particular time period was one of a kind. Fans and members of the media may continue to worry whether or not his gambling was a major problem in the past, even if he spoke those words in fun. Mars has earned a nice profit throughout his stay in Sin City, and gambling is a very addicting habit. Therefore, some people are uncertain as to whether or not there is more going on than what is being reported. In light of these assertions, what are your thoughts on the matter? Is that the case? This is an odd turn of events that occurred at the same time as the charges. At the height of his success, Mars was performing in Las Vegas, which brought him millions of dollars each year. This performance was the zenith of his career. Is it possible that Mars and MGM are trying to keep anything from the public to protect their reputations? The stories merely help to heighten the mystery, although there was a clear discrepancy between his public persona of money and success and the accusations that he was severely indebted. The contrast was plain. Amid the never-ending conversation about Mars's financial plight, the artist found himself in the spotlight for a different reason. During the year 2023, Mars and his musical colleague Anderson .Paak surprised everyone by pulling their record, titled An Evening with Silk Sonic, off the list of nominees for the Grammy Awards. The record, which had achieved commercial success and gained great critical praise, was being considered for several Grammy nominations at the time. It came as a surprise to both fans and professionals in the music business when Mars announced that they would not be submitting the album for a Grammy nomination. On the other hand, Mars was the one who made the declaration. Furthermore, Mars and Anderson .Paak assumed that they had already won because of the tremendous favorable response to their smash single from the previous year, Leave the Door Open, which had won all of the accolades. This led them to feel that they may have already won. After making the insightful comment that what they had already accomplished was adequate, he went on to say that all that came after that was only icing on the cake. For the purpose of making a message that was respectful regarding their departure, they made the decision to abstain from participating in the Grammy application process. By making this decision, they opened the door for other individuals to steal the show. The band Mars expressed gratitude for the opportunity to perform at the Grammy Awards, as well as for the recognition they had received in the past. In addition, they indicated a desire to put this opportunity to good use by listening to the music of other artists, which is an intriguing aspect of the situation. The choice made by Silk Sonic was confirmed by the Recording Academy. Yet a great number of fans and reviewers were perplexed by the action. Taking into consideration Mars and Paak's remarkable success at the 2022 Grammy accolades, when they won 4 accolades, including Record of the Year and Single of the Year for their song Leave the Door Open, it was unexpected that they chose not to attend the ceremony that was held the following year. A certain amount of doubt was also expressed in response to this decision when it was delivered. Is it conceivable that Mars seeks to avoid more public attention because he was previously the target of reports concerning his gambling habits? Even though we have not yet received any official word, his return has recently been a source of excitement for his admirers. Am I correct in assuming that you are aware of this return? Considering all of the rumors that have been spread about him, is this his way of refuting it? Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga's duet, Die With a Smile, caused a stir in August 2024. Many were curious about this comeback as the artists engaged in intriguing social media teasing, posting ambiguous comments about their relationship on Twitter and sharing mysterious photos. Fans were quick to rally around the tune, and it was no surprise that it was the first original song the two musicians had sung together in a long time. By addressing topics such as love, relationships, and life's hardships, Die With a Smile was able to touch the hearts of listeners everywhere. In just a short time, the song rose to number 3 on the Billboard charts and had over 137 million views on YouTube. Mars and Gaga's desire to create a hit while conveying meaningful lessons about overcoming obstacles in their careers has been widely observed, and most recently, the collaboration between Bruno Mars and Rosé on the song APT. Despite its surprise release, Rosé, Blackpink, and pop icon Bruno Mars's song APT quickly swept all music charts around the world. On October 18th, social media exploded when Rosé, Blackpink, and Bruno Mars's song APT was released just one day after the announcement. Less than 24 hours later, the MV for APT set a record for the highest first-day views for a male-female collaboration on YouTube in 2024, reaching 25,021,989 views, surpassing the previous record held by Taylor Swift and Post Malone. The song also topped the global iTunes chart, reaching number 1 in 51 countries and territories. The song APT also helped Bruno Mars make history in Korean music, becoming the 5th Usuk artist to top the Melon Top 100, after Latto, The Kid Laroi, Justin Bieber, and Coldplay. Unlike many other musicians, Bruno Mars remained calm and avoided public outcry in the face of criticism and problems arising from his $50 million gambling debt. On the contrary, his intelligence and determination helped him overcome obstacles in his career. Netizens even joked that having a little debt makes you work harder. What do you think about the rumors surrounding Bruno Mars? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next videos.